And now your host, the man who's a former audio engineer, Nick Page.
Hey guys, welcome back to Portrait Session. This is episode 50 of Portrait Session. Pretty crazy that we made it to 50 episodes. Unfortunately, I am flying solo today. Erica is taking a day off. So episode 50, it only seems right that we give something away. And so today I'm going to be giving away one of my Skype tutorials. For whoever comments over at improvephotography.com, go over, leave a comment below saying that you loved the episode and congratulations on 50. I'm going to pick a random winner from over there, and they're going to be receiving a one-on-one Skype session with me. The Skype sessions are just an hour long where we can work on any kind of post-processing stuff that you want to learn. And we can do that all over Skype. So it's really cool. Send you a video of it afterwards. Go over to improvephotography.com and leave a comment under episode 50. So this week, I wanted to talk all about staying motivated and inspired as a photographer. Sometimes life gets you down. Sometimes it's the man that gets you down. Sometimes you have a bad shoot and you have a grumpy client and they get you down. It's really easy to just kind of lose your mojo. And I wanted to talk about ways to kind of try to get it back. So it happens to me all the time where, life gets in the way. I'm not feeling very artistic or creative, and I have to go out and do a shoot. And it's really difficult in those situations to go out and, be in a good enough mood to feel inspired. So some of the things that I do to keep myself inspired, I like sometimes just by going to a new location, a location I've never been to, I've never shot at before. Yeah, I can draw inspiration from that. Simply because you're in a new place and you're seeing things new, and new can be a good thing. It's fresh and it's clean. And as a creative, it really helps to have something outside of yourself to draw inspiration from. So sometimes a new location can be that for you. Sometimes a new piece of gear, a new doodad can be really motivational to get out and to shoot. I just picked up a set of the mag mods. Eric has talked about them before. They're basically a set of magnet-based accessories for speedlights where you can quickly attach the accessory to your speedlight using magnets, and it's really quick, clean, easy. And I've been having so much fun with them. I'm looking for every opportunity to use them, and because of that, I'm getting out and I'm shooting more. So a lot of times, just a new cheap little toy can be the most, motivational thing ever, because when you have a new toy, you want to use it, and you end up going out and shooting and having more fun just because you have a new toy to play with. We're all kind of kids on the inside, so having a new toy to play with, always a motivational thing. The same is true, like if you're just feeling like you're in a rut with the types of images that you're creating, try a new lens. If you find yourself that, like myself, I'm always shooting with my 70-200 all the time. And I was forced to use my 24-70 recently just because I was in a small room and I was not able to use a longer lens. And I actually found myself being a little bit extra inspired just because you get really used to seeing the same focal length come out of your camera. And when you have a different focal length that you're looking through, you see things differently, and it can be a little bit more motivational and inspirational. One of the biggest, most important things for me is to look at the photography of other photographers that I feel are just way better than me. And there are a few of those out there in the world. There's quite a few of those. 500px is my favorite place to draw inspiration from. You can go to 500px and find all kinds of really amazing photographers there. And sometimes it can be, a reality check. It can be really humbling to see amazing photographers and only the best work from those photographers. But at the same time, it gives you inspiration to see something through the eyes of somebody else and to see what is possible. Because a lot of times we get so used to seeing our own work you start feeling very stale, and it starts just feeling very redundant and stale. So just looking at the work of others can just breathe new life into your photography, simply because, you're seeing things outside of the way you would have seen them. And maybe it's a new processing technique that you've never really thought about trying to do. It can just breathe new life into your photography. You don't have to go out and copycat people, but just taking a piece of what somebody else is doing, something that you really like what they're doing, and incorporating that into your photography, it can really, like I said, breathe new life into your photography. So that's one of the things that I really, really do as much as anytime that I'm feeling like I'm in a rut. I just spend some time on 500px. I have a good cry because, I'm looking at amazing photography that's better than my own, but it gives me a sense of what's possible and how good you can get with photography. So that always helps. Another thing is just pick up a magazine, whether, depending on the type of photography you do, maybe it's some kind of Western magazine. If you're into that kind of photography, maybe it's fashion, maybe it's landscape photography, whatever. Just looking at really good imagery can really make you inspired again. So really highly recommend checking out the work of others. Maybe you go and check out Erica's page, because Erica has some amazing photography. So go check out her Instagram and just like drool over some of her work, because seeing images from a different photographer that is using different techniques and a different style can really help you feel inspired. So, and one thing that really works for me, I'm kind of Nick, the ADD photographer. I do lots of different types of photography. And part of the reason for that is if I do the same type of photography over and over and over and over and over and over and over, I start feeling burnout and it starts feeling really stale. So for me, just doing a different genre of photography, it can really make you feel inspired, because, if you go out and you're shooting portraits all the time, you go out and you just spend a weekend zenning out in nature, doing nothing but landscape photography. Not only are you going to feel refreshed, but you're going to feel inspired by the type of photography you've been doing. And you can take a little piece of that and incorporate it into your other work. So it's a really good reset button for me to go out and do a little bit of landscape photography, because you get away from the people and you just spend time in nature and looking at pretty things, and it's hard to not feel refreshed after that. So in every episode, we like to address a listener question that comes in over on our Facebook group. If you go to Facebook, do a search for Portrait Session Podcast Listeners. We have a group there. You can join. You can interact with all the other listeners of the show. It's a great place to ask us questions, and that's where we get our questions from. So this week, we have a question come in that says, hello, I'm a relatively new podcast listener, and I have a question about getting print colors to come out correctly. I know I probably need to calibrate my monitor first, and then have a lab do some test prints. Do you generally have the lab adjust the colors of your prints? And which labs do you use for printing portraits? I heard Nick Page mention Miller's on the episode about sports photography. Any guidance would be great. So when you download a ROES software, ROES, from any print lab, one of the options there is, do you want them to basically calibrate your photo or do color correction on your photo? Typically, all they're going to do is hit auto white balance on that. It's a little bit more complex than that, but I always leave that unselected. I want to be in control of my colors and contrast, not some technician at a print lab. So to make your colors come out correctly, coming back from a print lab, you do need to calibrate your monitor, whether it's, just the built-in software that comes with your operating system or your monitor, or if you're buying something like a Spider screen calibrator. There's all kinds of screen calibration tools out there. You really, really need to use those, because the first experience everybody has with printing is they send their picture off to be printed. It comes back and it's dark. It's like really dark, because our monitors, when they come out of the factory, they're set to like really, really bright, really contrasty, because they want the screen to catch your eye when they're, on display in some computer store. So oftentimes our monitors are set too bright. When you send and we edit that image, we send it to the print lab, it comes back, it's always going to be dark. So you need to make sure that you're calibrating your screen. So one of the ways that I do that is I will send a couple test prints off to a print lab. I'll bring it back, and then without changing my monitor settings, I will hold up the picture next to my monitor, and I'll just compare the two. And if the picture is coming back dark, I know that I can't change the print. So I change the monitor and I darken down my monitor to match. And then I know that when I look at that image and they're relatively the same, now I know that the next time I send a print off, it's going to come back looking like my monitor. So that's a quick way of doing it without buying some kind of screen calibration tool. I'm actually lazy. I don't own a screen calibration tool, but I get good results from print labs coming back just by doing that little comparison test. So send out a couple, 8x10 prints, and have them come back, hold them up in front of your screen, make your screen match the print, and you should be good to go. So yeah, that was this week's listener question. Print labs that I like to use, I love Miller's for how fast they are. I like Pro DPI for the quality. I think that the quality is a little bit better than with Miller's. It's also a little bit cheaper, but it's a lot slower. And anymore, I'm going for speed when it comes to my print labs. So Miller's is great for speed. They include free overnight shipping with every single thing you order from them, whether it's a cheap little packet of prints or a gallery wrap canvas, you're going to get it fast. And I love that about Miller's. That's why I use them. I've also had really good results with Bay Photo. Bay Photo is an excellent print lab. Quality is excellent. They have amazing options for mounting like metal prints and stuff like that. Really good options there. But they're a little bit more expensive. You pay for those options. So had good luck with those three. Those are pretty much my three favorites. When I'm doing Canvas, I tend to go with canvasondemand.com. Simply because I can find coupon codes for it. And so typically I can find 50 to 60% off coupon codes on the internet. And that saves me a ton of money when I order big canvases like the one in the background there. So yeah, those are the print labs that I prefer. So one last thing that I wanted to talk about today is studio photography. I typically don't do a whole lot of studio portraits, but I actually had an opportunity to, I guess it was yesterday, and it was so much fun. I hadn't done a portrait shoot in a long while, and it was fun to set up my rolls of paper again and dust off all my studio gear and do that. So I had an opportunity to photograph this adorable little 6-month-old boy. Super cute kid. He was hamming it up for the camera, and had a really good shoot with him. And I actually did a Periscope of my lighting setup. If you haven't already added me on Periscope, if you just do a search for Nick Page Photo, I give a lot of behind the scenes stuff over there at my various shoots. But anyways, so the images that I created there, I was basically using two light sources. I was using a 60-inch umbrella for my key light, which was producing a really soft light on the little boy. I was getting that like within 8 inches of him. So, I mean, it was a huge soft light source, but I also had it off to the side. So we were still getting some shadow. One of the mistakes that people make quite frequently when they're first starting to do off-camera flash is they have your light source on a similar direction as your camera, but if you move it off to the side, you start creating shadows and texture, and assuming your light source is soft, that's a good thing. So because I was using a black backdrop in these photos, one of the things that I needed to kind of do is create a little bit of separation from the kid and the black background. if I have my light source all the way off to one side and I'm creating a shadow on the far side, that shadow is going to just kind of blend or bleed into the background. And sometimes it's a nice effect, but other times you want to separate the person or the subject from the background. So in that case, I used just a bare speed light with a grid on it, one of my MagMod grids that Jim hates. And I put that in the background, adding just a little bit of rim light on him, and it ended up really, really cool. So I kind of fell back in love with studio photography this week. And at some point we should have some kind of photo contest or something for a studio photography, because it really doesn't get enough love in today's photography industry. Most of us are doing portraits outside, going to the park, whatever. But the studio portraits, they can be a really good time. And the amount of crafting that you have to put into your light, I think, is what I was enjoying the most, because it had been a while since I was completely generating all of the light. Either typically when I'm outside, I'm either working with it or I'm completely dominating it. In a studio environment, like you are the only light pretty much. I did have some ambient light coming from windows. The people on Periscope noticed that. And because I was using really strong settings, I was completely overpowering that light. I was using my flashes at like 1/4 power, and my light was really close to the subject. So another really nice thing that happens is that you get really nice fall off when you get your light source close. So what fall off is as your light source gets really close to your subject, the area of your subject that's closest to your light gets a really nice, strong amount of light, and then it falls off really quickly. After that, it falls to shadow much more quickly than if I had my light source way far away. It's not going to fall off as much on the shadow side. So creating that fall off is another nice thing that happens when you get your light source really close to your subject. Anyways, because this is the 50th episode, we are in the mood to give some stuff away. So like I said, we're going to be giving that Skype tutorial away. And I'm sure Erica is going to give something away. We'll talk to her soon and we'll figure out what it is that she's going to give away. Also, we're running our Instagram contest, where basically we're going to, whoever adds us on Instagram, admittedly, I haven't been posting very long to Instagram, but whoever adds me, I'm going to pick a random winner, and I'm giving them a ball head. Erica's giving them a camera bag. Jim is giving away something, I don't remember what, and Sandy DeRoe is also giving away stuff. So make sure you go add us on Instagram, follow us there, and you're going to get free stuff. All right, so this is it for this episode. Hopefully you did not fall asleep during Nick's solo episode. Eric will be back again next week. We got some really cool guests lined up. Make sure you are subscribed on all your favorite podcast feeds, and we will see you in another 7 days. All right, thanks so much. Bye-bye.